right, folks, sorry about the wait. It is Friday, December 11th at 1:03 p.m. Apologize for being tardy. I'd like to call the regular board meeting for the Palo Verde College Board of Trustees for December 11th, 2020 to order. All right, please stand with me, salute our flag, or recite with me the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United
States of America.
Stands.
The Republic stands one nation, under God, indivisible,
for liberty, justice for all.
All right. Ms. Millian, roll call, please.
Mr. Arneson?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Davis? Ms. Davis, are you present?
Present.
Mr. McNeil?
Here.
Mr. Ramirez?
Here.
Mr. Rehnquist?
Here.
Ms. Stiers?
here,
Dr. Thomas?
Here.
Mr. Dean? Dr. Wallace?
Here.
Ms. Slagan?
Here.
Mr. Smith?
Here.
Okay, and a quick little bit of business. Palo Verde College Board of Trustees welcomes you to our board meeting today. While our community is under public meeting restrictions and stay-at-home orders issued by state and local authorities, our board meetings will be accessible to the members of the public via the Zoom, telephone, and YouTube live streaming. Board members will be participating from remote locations, and there will be no physical location from which members of the public may attend. Any public comments received via email up to 1/2 hour prior to the start of the meeting will be read into the minutes by the meeting moderator. These temporary modifications to the public meeting law have been authorized by executive orders from the governor. And until further notice, our board meetings will be held in this manner. Our board is committed to the continued education and safety of our students, faculty, staff, and community. We thank you for your patience and understanding during this difficult time, and we will now proceed with our meeting. All right. I'll entertain a motion for the approval of meeting minutes from November 10th.
Move for approval.
I've got a motion and a second.
Second.
I've got a motion and a second. Questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Thank you. We've all had a chance to go over the agenda. I'll entertain a motion for the approval of today's agenda.
so moved.
Got a motion, a second. Questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
We have an agenda, folks. Okay. Section 1.6, is there anyone who needs to recuse themselves from anything on today's agenda?
No,
Stella, 13.2? Yeah. Yes?
13.2.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay. Moving right along, section number 2 of our agenda today, hearing of citizens on agenda items. Ms. Mullion?
No, sir, there's no one.
Okay. Section 3, annual organizational meeting with the Board of Trustees in accordance with the Educational Code and board policy. So for 3.1, the election of the president of the board. Dr. Wallace, do you take this over now?
I'll take it over, and as soon as we have a president elected, that president will pick up the rest of it. So what I'm going to do is open up the floor for nominations for the election of the president for the upcoming year, and we'll wait till we hear a nomination.
I nominate to Brad Arneson.
Okay. Brad Arneson for a second year, it sounds like, right? Yep.
Yep.
All right. Any other nominations? All right, then let's have a vote for Mr. Brad Arneson. All those in favor, or is it a roll call, Carrie, or what is it?
Yes.
Roll call.
But we need a second on that,
I second it.
okay. So Stella made the motion, Dr. Thomas seconded that. And now we take it to a roll call vote.
All righty.
Mr. Arneson,
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Mr. Ramirez,
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist,
Yes.
Ms. Stiers,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. McNeil, Mr. McNeil, you're muted. Your mic is muted.
There he is. He's unmuted.
I think a thumbs up would be a yes. Okay,
That'll
all
work.
right, we'll go with that. That motion carries.
So says Caesar.
So says Caesar. That's funny. All right, then I'll continue on for a year. And Doc, do I take this back over?
You're in charge, my sir.
Here we go, sir. Moving right along, 3.2, the election of the vice president of the Board of Trustees. And I'd like to nominate Stella Stiers, please.
Second it.
Motion and a second. Any other nominations? Hearing none, it'll go to a roll call vote. Ms. Mullion?
Mr. Arneson,
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez,
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist,
Yes.
Ms. Stiers,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. McNeil,
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. We're good. Okay. We'll get that worked out here. Okay, moving right along, 3.3, election of the clerk of the Board of Trustees. I now open nominations for that.
I nominate Mr. Ramirez.
I've got a nomination and a second.
Second.
Got a nomination and a second for Angel Ramirez. Any other nominations? Any questions, comments, or concern? Hearing none, we'll move to a roll call vote. Ms. Mullion?
Mr. Arneson,
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez,
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist,
Yes.
Ms. Stiers,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. McNeil, I cannot see anymore.
I lost him. Oh, there he is.
Mr.
Okay.
McNeil,
There
Okay.
we go.
got it. A yes vote.
Okay. It brings us down to 3.5, the appointment of the secretary of the Board of Trustees. I would be
point
appointing
of
Dr.
order.
Wallace. Yes, ma'am.
3.4,
3-4.
Oh, you know what? I flipped the page and missed it. I'm sorry. 3.4. My apologies. I will step back to 3.4 and the election of the Riverside County Community on School Direction Organization Representative, the RCOE. I'll accept nominations.
Brad, who's been doing it?
You know, I think we pretty much have named, I did it 1 year and we've pretty much just kind of elected somebody in kind of a name only on this. This is, we're not really active. George, was it you?
I think last year was Ned.
Oh,
Okay.
I believe it was. You're
I think
right.
it was Ned last year, and when he went off the board.
that is correct.
Okay.
I nominate George Thomas.
I'll second. I've got a motion and a second. Questions, comments, concerns?
I just want to check my mic. Is it working now?
Yes. Yeah, you're back. You're good.
Woohoo!
That'll work. Hey, the thumbs up, thumbs down thing kind of worked too. That was all right. Anyway, okay. So with no questions, comments, and concerns, we'll advance to a vote and a roll call vote. Ms. Millian?
Mr. Arneson,
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez,
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist,
Yes.
Ms. Stiers,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. McNeil.
Yes.
Okay. Well, you've got a board, you got some officers, so moving right along. 3.1, be appointing Dr. Wallace as is the Secretary of the Board of
3.5.
Trustees.
Did we
Sorry,
do
3.5.
5.
3.5. All right. That requires no vote, just the actual appointment. Dr. Wallace, you're it. Congratulations.
We do have to take a vote on that, Brad.
Do we? I
Yeah.
did
Yes.
not- I did not know that. Okay, is there any?
We need a motion and a second.
All right,
I nominate Dr. Wallace.
I've got a motion. I've got a
Second.
second. Questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none. Roll call vote. Ms. Millian?
Mr. Arneson,
Absolutely, yes.
Mr. Ramirez,
C.
Mr. Rehnquist,
Yes.
Ms. Stiers,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. McNeil.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, 3.6, our upcoming schedule for the Board of Trustees. Please note the December meeting is 1 o'clock on that Friday. And Carrie, does this have to be voted on? Or are we okay with just, yeah?
This needs to be approved.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the schedule. You've all had a chance to look at it, correct?
Move.
Okay, we've got a motion. I'll entertain a second.
Second.
I have got a motion and a second. Questions, comments, concerns for the discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Ms. Millian?
Mr. Arneson,
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez,
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist,
Yes.
Ms. Stiers,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. McNeil.
Yes.
All right, now we have a schedule. That brings us to number 4, section number 4 of our agenda tonight. The reports. We'll start with 4.1, CCA, CTA, President, Mr. Richard Castillo.
Good afternoon, Mr. Arneson and the rest of the board and all administration. I only have 2 things to report today. First is with the online training that the faculty is going through with @ONE. So far, we've had many faculty sign up for the course without any problems whatsoever. So there are 4 sections that faculty are available to sign up in. The first session started in March, another one in February. I'm sorry, January, February, March, and April. So we will be in line with the MOU that we recently had approved back in September to have our faculty certified to teach online on Canvas as required by the state for the start of fall 2020. We do have several part-timers who are part-time faculty who are also interested in the training. So if any seats come up, they hope to get into those slots. If any full-time faculty decide not to sign up for that training. The second point that I like to bring up, it's not a report actually, but something of the recent COVID outbreak here on campus. And 2 subpoints to that. First of all is the leadership. I want to thank Mr. Smith and Mrs. Ceci Garcia for their leadership in handling the recent COVID outbreak for the staff here on campus. They've been handling it one problem after another. There's a lot of grace under pressure there, a lot of quick thinking. We had a couple of issues come up and they've resolved it the best way that they can. Mr. Smith was literally left with this situation within the moment of real time as it was happening. And he's been dealing with it like Captain Kirk on the Enterprise all the way through. Or actually Captain Picard on the Enterprise. He's just saying, make it so, you know. The other thing here too that I've learned from this recent outbreak over the past week is that there's a good lesson here, is that even with, of men and mice, there are plans. And something happened, well, like this outbreak. We had a plan and we were following the best way we can. Everyone, including myself, we're all trying to do the right thing. We get a little under pressure, a little under stress. That's understandable. But also another thing that I realized in this problem, when this problem broke out, is that with something as severe as this outbreak happened, even though there were just a handful of people that were involved, that when it comes to the leadership structure, that whoever is in the top echelon of leadership, and even if it's myself included or anyone, any faculty leader as well as Ms. Frid, that whatever is going on at that time, as bad as this was, drop what you're doing, personal or professional, drop what you're doing, handle that situation to the best that we can within the first 24 hours, because a lot of misinformation can come out. We need to get the right information to not only just to the staff and people who are on campus, but also to the faculty. Some faculty were worried about what they had to do for themselves, even though they're not here on campus at all. They still wanted to come onto campus and pick up some work and everything. They were wondering if it was even at all safe for them. And fortunately, the campus was closed. Mr. Smith made the right decision, made the right call on that, just to be sure for everybody's safety. And my foot's kind of shaking when I'm saying this is because even here in my home, as soon as I found out that news, my wife and I, we activated our plan here at home. And that's even preparing for the worst. So what I'm trying to say here is that when something like this happens again, that whatever is going on from the board on down, drop what you're doing within the first 24 hours, drop what you're doing, handle the situation as best we can. If we need to tell everybody who was in the building that week to get a test, we tell them directly, get a test. We tell them to isolate, isolate. Everything else. So everyone knows exactly what they're doing from the top on down. And that way we're all on the same boat. We're all paddling together. And this week, Mr. Smith and Mrs. Garcia, they did their best and not going downstream, but going upriver. I'm telling you right now, one problem after another kept coming and they kept meeting it all the time. Everyone was in stroke with that. So I hope that things work out better than today. Not that they're any bad, they're great. Everything's going on. We resolve some issues and everything else best we can. And from here on out, as long as we keep working together and stay on the same stroke there. And again, thank you, Mr. Smith and Mrs. Garcia, and everyone else in the administration who was helping out in the past week or so. This was quite a surprise. So, and it was hitting literally really close to home this time around. But thank you. And that will end my report unless anyone has any questions for me. Okay.
Mr. Castillo, thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right, 4.2, moving right along. Academic Senate, Sarah Frid.
Good afternoon. The Academic Senate would like to offer a hearty welcome to the new board members. And I'd like to formally introduce myself as Sarah Frid, President of the Academic Senate. I teach business and management, and I've been at PVC since 2004. The Academic Senate leadership and all faculty genuinely look forward to working with you in the coming term. Echoing some of Richard's statements about the recent outbreak of COVID on campus, or exposure, I don't actually know what the correct terminology is. The faculty sincerely wish all those exposed and diagnosed with COVID a speedy recovery and a lessening of the anxiety that just runs rampant with this pandemic. I think it continues to be a difficult thing to fully process that normal interaction with each other is such an incredible threat to our health and the health of our loved ones. diligent and consistent adherence to all COVID safety protocols, no matter how awkward or burdensome. It's vital to uphold them so that PVC's doors can stay open. As a representative on the committee for drafting the PVC reopening safety plan, I'm hopeful that we can utilize this instance to help strengthen the policies and procedures campus-wide and hopefully affect community-wide reach to help everyone stay as safe as possible. Related, the COVID diagnosis and outbreak across the prisons in the state of California is alarming. Rising Scholars is the Chancellor's Office program for our students presently in or recently released from the criminal justice system. I'm personally staying in contact with the Chancellor's Office Regional Coordinator for Rising Scholars. His name is Javier Rodriguez. And I'm getting up-to-date information regarding the statewide decisions as well as local decisions for the increasing spread and severe threat of COVID-19 in the CDCR locations. This is pertinent because about half of our headcount, student-wise, comes from students who are currently in CDCR locations. As information comes in, I am coordinating with Willie and Shelley Hamilton, the Director of Admissions and Records, for best steps for faculty. Right now, educational CDCR employees have extremely limited access, and we are preparing for a large wave of late work coming in beyond the last date of the term. Faculty have been advised to send a communication to these students to let them know how they will handle work that will unavoidably arrive and be graded after the end of the term. As we look forward, I'm pleased to let you all know that just over 30 full-time faculty have enrolled in the online teaching and design certificate program that Richard mentioned earlier in regards to the MOU. At the conclusion of this training, these faculty will be eligible per Title V and PVC local policies to teach in the online modality with adherence to all local, state, and federal requirements. And with that, I'd like to wish you all a very safe and healthy holiday season. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them at this time.
Any questions for Sarah? Hearing none, thank you very much, and safe and happy holidays to you as well. Moving right along, 4.3 CSEA, Chapter 180, Richard Soto, or as designate. All right, none. Moving right along, 4.4 Associate Student Government, Jared Dean. All right, no Jared today. Superintendent President, Don Wallace.
So I don't have anything to add. I know that my team has been, as Richard and others have said, magnificently handling that situation that nobody, well, I shouldn't say we couldn't have predicted it. We knew it was coming, but anyway, it popped up and they're handling it great. I've been involved. They keep me included via email and other ways, but no, other than that, great job. No comment, no further comments that I have. I haven't been there to see anything. So anyway, moving on.
All right, thank you. Interim Vice President of Instruction Student Services, Mr. Smith. Willie. All right.
Willie, you're muted.
There they were. There.
Okay. I sure would like to thank the team for all the positive comments. I don't know if I deserve all that, but I want to thank the team who's helped me work our way through this. Naturally Sassy, Stephanie's been very instrumental. Irma Gonzalez, Bijou, Shelley. We've all tried to work what we've been laid at our feet this week, which has been quite interesting. So we probably have, I got the mail delivered yesterday. We probably got more mail to college now than the US Post Office. It's unbelievable. As far as what we have been doing when we're not battling this COVID crisis, Bijou and I have met with a team for ACCJC report presentation to 5 areas for compliance that they brought to our attention during their visit. And you'll be hearing until August 1st that we are working to comply with their request. We also, probably a couple of years ago, we got a program called eLumen for student learning outcomes. And we'll be meeting in January with all faculty to do away with paper and to track our online requirements. And this is going to do away with all the paper and make it much easier. Like when ACCJC comes to our campus and does a visit, that we'll be able to have the evidence to support those SLOs and have that documentation rather than trying to chase around paper. Bijou has also informed me that solar installation technician's certificate of achievement approved by the Chancellor's office to be offered beginning January 21. And from the counseling section and the food pantry, Jacqueline, which heads that up, right prior to Thanksgiving, they served approximately 95 students, which was very interesting, from potatoes to turkeys to pastries and pies. They had just about everything, including milk. So they managed to make a lot of families happy for the Thanksgiving holiday. A&R now currently is registering students for fall, and incarcerated students, or correction, for the spring. DPS is, as you know, most of the board members know we secured a TRIO grant. And so they're assisting DPS with those. CalWorks continues to communicate with students and meet with them, and we're meeting in the parking lot on Thursdays rather than have students come to the main campus to provide them whatever services we can provide for them. I don't know of anything else offhand, but that completes my report. Is there any questions?
All right, hearing no questions, Willie, thank you very much. All right, Vice President of Administrative Services, Stephanie Slagan.
So we just finished our audit this month, yeah, it was about a week ago, and no findings so far. That will be presented to you hopefully in the January or February board meeting. So we're really excited to be done with the 1920 year. That being said, we are working on getting our 1098s and our tax forms ready for the year. We have been dealing with the COVID exposure on campus. OSHA has instituted a new requirement that if you have over 3 positive COVID employees on campus, that you have to notify the entire campus in the form of a letter. So we have done that via email. We have made sure that everyone who has been on campus since the preliminary exposure has been offered to get tested at no cost at Blythe Drug, and that has been working out well, and we continue to do that. Administration is also working to implement a second testing before we open the campus back up in January, just to make sure that we are safe. Also, Mario Hale, our acting director of facilities, has been working with his staff to sterilize the campus, all campus buildings, including offices, classrooms, library, departments, everything has been sterilized. We purchased the sterilization equipment back in March. It took us a few months because it was on back order, but this is the CDC standard of what should be used to sterilize buildings. So once we come back to campus, this equipment will be used daily to go through and sanitize the buildings as employees go through. So we're working on that. We also have had our pre-construction meeting for the construction down in Needles, and that is set to begin the first week in January. So we're really excited about that. It should take about 6 to 8 weeks to complete. And then we can possibly have a grand opening if we're able to when this COVID pandemic is over. We're also keeping track of when vaccines may possibly be available. The state has a guidance on that, and we will be looking at that and keeping up with that. But other than that, I don't have anything else to add.
All right, questions for Ms. Legan?
Stephanie, I have
Yes.
a question about the construction.
Yes.
And as it relates to people going in and out of the building and COVID, what kind of precautions are we going to be able to take so that those of us that are, in very highly, those of us any of us don't get it up here.
So what we're working on is we signed a contract the last board meeting called for Appian Campus Pass. This Appian Campus Pass will be implemented as of January. Ceci and I are working with a company right now to set up the pass system. Any person who visits the campus, is an employee of the campus, or is a student of the campus has to complete this questionnaire. What that does for us is lets us know who's on campus. It will issue them grant them access if they answer the questions appropriately. However, if they have a fever or have come in contact with somebody, it will issue them an alert not to come to campus, and will also notify our HR department so that we can follow up with employees and make sure that there has been no exposure.
Is this an app?
So we are working on that. Right now, we have the health questionnaire that was emailed out to employees. That is in a temporary basis until the new Appian Campus Pass is implemented. And these have to be filled out before the person comes to campus. They should not be coming to campus until they have completed the questionnaire and been granted a pass to come on campus.
So the Appian program, is that going to be like an app that can be downloaded so that people can get on it, or does it have to go through
It's both an application on your phone, and also you can go to a website. So if you don't feel like downloading the app on your phone and having another app on your phone, you can go to a website. And later in the month, we will be sending out anyone who is known to come to campus on a regular basis will be issued or be sent an email. Those who are just truly visitors, one-time contractors or different things like that, we will be handling in a different way. We just have to set up the system. So that's what we're doing this month, and it'll go live in January.
Yeah, that's what I was mostly concerned about. Those of us that are already there, we know the system, but it's the construction workers and contractors that are going to come in.
Yes, we have already notified them that they are required to fill this out. So all the contractors and subcontractors understand and know that they have to complete this to come on our campus.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, any more questions for Stephanie?
I do have a comment to add there, Brad, if I could,
Yeah,
please.
please.
Stephanie was talking about the temporary questionnaire that's up on our website. So if we do open on Monday, the 14th, unless something changes between now and then, those that information that's gathered from that temporary questionnaire, Stephanie was very instrumental in getting that into a fillable form and getting that directed straight to HR. So when they complete the form and you hit submit, it automatically goes to HR. So with that, Stephanie and her team that put that together, that was a great thing until we get the applicant insight.
Campus pass. Yeah, it's a mouthful. What we're trying, the goal of all of this is to protect visitors' rights, employees' HIPAA rights. We want to make sure that we protect their data and not expose, their medical or health conditions.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Any more questions? Hearing none. 4.8, Dean of the Needle Center, Lolly.
So that kind of segues into my concerns, really, of on how to keep the Needle Center healthy and our staff healthy through this process. I've made sure and let them know that when they fill these things out, the forms that go directly, the fillable forms, that they do it before they enter the building rather than coming into the building and then filling it out and sending it off. Well, it could happen.
Yeah.
Also, I think, it's for us and for down there, it's very, very important that we monitor anyone that comes into our building and make sure that if they're authorized to come in and have, been cleared, that they come in with a mask. We just don't allow anybody to step through the doors without having a mask or asking us for a mask so that we can provide one for them. So really, that's pretty much what Needles has been busy working on. In the process also, of course, getting up and going with registration and assisting students, mostly through emails and phone calls and texts and all that. The rest of my report, I think, should give you a detailed overview of what we've been doing this past month. One of the things I wanted to say is yesterday we had our the River Consortium board meeting, which was attended by the three board members, Dr. McNeil, myself, and Tracy Kern's representative from Palo Verde Unified, who was Rose Schaefer at this time, along with a number of members of the Unified School District as well as the college. And it was a very informative meeting for us. There were a lot of discussions on the updates on the projects that we've been doing, which of course, involves both, both both Blythe and Needles communities. And I'll provide you a summary of all of those in my next report for January once the minutes come out. Other than that, I wish you all a very, very happy and extremely healthy holiday season. And it's really good to see you all here and welcome the new board members. And I look forward to working with all of you in the next year. So thank you very much.
Any questions for Lolly? Hearing none, we'll roll down to the Board of Trustees and we'll start a little bit different today. I'll go first and go down the line so that Ms. Davis and Mr. McNeil kind of get a general idea where we are. So I'll start, and I'd like to thank everybody for everything that's gone on this last month and handling it, not is a better way to put it. The COVID outbreak and how it's been taken care of, and then all the work that continues to go on. I wish everybody a very happy, healthy, and safe holiday, and look forward to keep rolling on through. Ms. Stars. Stella, you're muted.
Thank you. Welcome, new board members. I look forward to working with you both, and we're going to have a great year. As you guys know, I had my surgery November the 10th. The first couple of weeks were really, really hard. It is getting better. I'm probably going to be out of work till February. Saw my doctor yesterday. Other than that, I've been home and trying to be safe, and everything's going well. And I want to wish everybody a safe holiday and a new year. I won't see you until January the 19th. Thank you.
Thank you. Angel?
Yes, welcome the new board members, and I really don't have much going on other than thanking everybody for a job well done. Willie, it seems like you're doing an outstanding job along with everyone else. And I appreciate that. Keep up the good work, and happy holidays for everyone. See you guys in January.
Dr. Thomas.
Well, rather than just saying ditto, 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 I agree with all the things that have been said. Again, I'd like to welcome the new board members, and as said before, look forward to working with you, and I hope you really enjoy being a part of the college and a part of our board. And to thank all the ones that have been involved in the things that have gone on the campus in this past recently. I just say recently, and sounds like you've done an outstanding job. Also, wish everyone a happy and a safe Christmas and New Year, and get you some rest, and look forward to just jumping right in all forces come January when we get started again.
All right, thank you. Dave Rehnquist.
I just have one little quip, and I would like to see my name spelled correctly with an E instead of an I. It still sounds the same either way. But no, everything is going fine as far as I'm concerned. I'm still vertical and get around whatever I need to do. As you know, I'll be spending 5 months in Flagstaff, and I'll be making some big trips to come down here to visit with you all. But I'll be back.
All right. All right, Stacy Davis.
What am I supposed to do right here? Just
This is your opportunity to address the college and the board, and just your opportunity to basically just say what's on your mind.
okay. Well, I want to thank everybody for the warm welcome. I'm really excited. And I know a couple of you guys from the college, Ramirez, and good to see Miss Stella again. It's been years. And so I'm just excited, a little nervous. This is new to me, but I like new things. And so right about now, I want to learn all I can about the board. I want to take some, whatever courses they have. I know there's one in January, and I want to be able to be here to be effective. My goal was to come and teach, but I'll settle for being on the board for now. And so I just want to be a part of something that's doing something for the city and be a part of the community. So I'm just glad to be here, and thanks for all of the welcomes.
Yeah. Hey. All right, thank you very much. John McNeil.
Yeah, thank you for the warm welcome. I want to say that I've spent some time with the people here in Needles as far as former board members, and they've been very welcoming, and they've been very clear about what a wonderful board this is and how easy you are all to work with. I look forward to working with all of you and getting to know you and finding my place in the board as we move forward with this wonderful college.
Great. All right. Let's move on to agenda item section number 5, item number 5.1, program reviews for history, social science, behavior, and program review.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the new board members and the returning members. It's been a while since I've seen most of you. For those that don't know me, my name is Kevin Oaf. I teach history and political science, and this is year 22 for me at PVC. So I want to apologize for the tardiness in this document, this review. There's for a variety of reasons that we don't need to go into. It's an outdated program review for sure. It bears little resemblance to what we're actually doing in our current cycle, but this program review document is for 2014 through 2017. Only Dr. Redwine and myself are among the full-time faculty that are still here at PVC from that time period. We're very excited about our new associate degree of transfers that we have implemented since then, and our new faculty members in anthropology, Soc, alcohol and drug studies. Dr. Timothy Bolin is also here with us today in case I stumble on any of your queries. He's one of our new division co-chairs, and we're really happy to have him on board. So with that said, I'll do my best to answer any questions that anybody has about this document. So there we are.
Okay, we haven't had a chance to review this. This meeting has gone over carefully.
Yes.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Oaf? All right. Hearing now, Mr. Oaf, thank you very much. I appreciate it very
Sure thing.
much.
Thank you.
All right. Agenda item number 5.2, Child Development Center Annual Program Review. That'd be Mrs. Dana, I can mispronounce your name. I'm so very sorry.
That's okay. It's Rethwish.
Yeah.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. You have the printed report in front of you, but I just wanted to go over a couple of highlights with you. Welcome to the new board members. I know Stacy is very familiar with the Child Development Center, and I'm sure most of you are. But the purpose of the Palo Verde College Child Development Center is to provide a high quality, developmentally appropriate education for the preschool children while we work with the families, Palo Verde College, and the entire community to promote a positive child development education. So I just wanted to hit a couple of the highlights in our report, some of the major accomplishments. And this is as well outdated because it ended in July 1. It ended June 30th of last year or earlier this year. So it's not our current program year that is covered in this report, but I wanted to hit a couple of major accomplishments from the prior program year. And that was that we maintained our full capacity of 40 children and that we had a waiting list throughout the year. So as somebody moved or whatever reason was withdrawn from our program, usually the next day, if not a couple of days later, we had another child taking their spot and being able to benefit from the services. So that was a major accomplishment. We also had been guided by our quality assurance coaches to enhance our curriculum to be more all-encompassing. And so we have accomplished that. And then the parent involvement in education was also enhanced with our family night program that we put together last year, where the families came to the center and we had dinner together, had some social exchanges, and then the parents stayed with me for an educational topic while the children went with the teachers in another room for an educational topic at their level regarding the same thing. It was very, very well received and well attended. We have made efforts with the River Consortium to be doing that again this year. And we've had our first couple of meetings over Zoom. We're making some tweaks on that to improve it starting in January. The other major accomplishment I wanted to highlight for you in the last year was that we were able to apply for 2 very large program grants. And I think when I met with you last December, we had just submitted those applications and were able to address some of your questions about them. We scored very highly on both, and one of them wasn't awarded because of COVID. The money, the funding was canceled. If it comes available again, we certainly will apply for it again. The other one, we just received notice within the last couple of months that we did receive the funding for that, and it's $498,513 that'll be used to provide money for the 4th classroom when we build the new center, an outdoor learning area and playground, and staff training, all with the idea of inclusion education. So we're really excited about that. It helps certainly add to the ability to get that new center developed. We do need to get that center developed because we have a great need to increase the ability to serve more children. As I said, even through the summer with COVID, we had a waiting list. We now have been able to service our entire waiting list using the distance education component. But I know that as soon as COVID, as soon as we get over all this and move on, that there will be an increased need again. I was on a call this morning with the state about the new master plan that was released by the governor's office last week. And they are actively working toward allowing state preschool to service children that are 3 years old, but younger than what we have had before. At the same time, we're moving toward all of California having a 4-year-old preschool for every 4-year-old, regardless of their economic situation. So I know there's going to be a great need. With that change, they're also going to be expecting increasing quality expectations. So we need to stay on the forefront as we have been moving toward for our community to be able to benefit from all of that. Do any of you have questions for me?
Do you have any questions for Ms. Redwich on the Child Development Center? Hearing none. Dana, thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great Christmas.
You too. We'll bring us down to agenda section section 6, and we'll start with Mark McDonald, MGI Legislative Advisory on 6.1. Mark, you're muted.
There we go. Thank you so much for having me. I have a PowerPoint, so I'm going to share my screen real quick. And okay, great. Thanks for having me down. It's good to see all of you and get in front of you for the first time. I'm going to do a little recap from this previous year and then talk a little bit about what we expect for the coming year. A little background on me. My name's Mark McDonald. I'm the president of MGI Advocacy. I started working with community colleges about 16 years ago as an intern at a consulting firm, and have worked in the higher ed space since. And it's good to be with such an innovative district like Palo Verde. A little bit about how we work. So I'm on a conference call every Monday with your staff, and we talk about bills or legislation that has been introduced or regulations that have been introduced. that will impact the college. And Stephanie and Willie generally participate in this call. And what they're able to do is provide impact, what the impact would be on the district to me, so that I can do real-time advocacy with members, with staff, and with, for example, regulations that may be occurring in the state chancellor's office or other state agencies. I'm also regularly in contact with your president via emails and phone calls. So I'll go briefly over the 2021 budget, and then I'll talk about what we expect to see with the coming budget that'll be the proposal that'll be introduced in January. So as many of you know, the budget was built largely on deferrals this year. Proposition 98 had $11 billion in deferrals, and that included $1.5 billion to community colleges. There was some positives that came out of it. There was some actual allocations, and this included a COVID-19 relief fund that was $120 million to community colleges to allow you to spend on issues that related from the pandemic. And then there was $11 million for funding for undocumented students that came through when it was believed that CARES Act money could not be used to assist undocumented students. And then as far as the funding formula was concerned, there was an extension of the hold harmless on the funding formula by 2 years. Some other good news, there was non-Proposition 98 money that was used. So it didn't come out of our 98 budget, but it was used to reduce your contributions to CalPERS and CalSTRS to give you by about 2 percentage points each, give you some operating funding. And then just a quick update on Calbright, the online college. They did have a reduction this year, 5 million out of their 20 million ongoing, and then 40 million out of their 100 million ongoing. But Calbright is still up and running currently, moving forward with their platform. So a preview of the 21-22 budget. Now the Legislative Analyst Office, which is the economic forecast arm of the legislature, just released their recent economic forecast for next year. And basically what they're saying is that the news is better than what we had anticipated, and that there isn't as much of a downturn as we had thought. And that's largely because the recession has impacted low income earners, whereas California gets most of its revenues from high income tax receipts. So they're estimating that there could be sufficient funds to roll back all of the deferrals, as well as provide 4.2 billion in funding to Prop 98. And if you assume community colleges get 11% of that, that would be about 460 million to community colleges. But I will caution on that, that the majority of that funding is what is called the supplemental payments. And that was put into place last year when it was believed that Prop 98 would experience a significant reduction. And that is statutory. And so the legislature could go back and reverse that. And actually the LAO has recommended that they do that. And that's because there hasn't been the dip in Prop 98 revenues that were anticipated. Obviously, the Education Coalition will oppose rolling that back, but that'll be debated in the budget negotiations this fall. The other issue is that in the overall budget, they're projecting operating deficits through 2024-25. There is a one-time windfall that the LAO projects is 26 billion, and this is non-Prop 98. This is the overall budget. The governor has come out and said that it's closer to 15 billion. The governor is always lower than the LAO, and they'll debate that out. But that's another reason to, I think, be careful when we look at what the new Prop 98 guarantee is going to be, that there will be funding that the state will want to bank for future deficits. Some budget issues that will come up. The first priority is going to be to pay down the deferrals, or to pay down the credit card, as we would say. The other issue will be an automatic property tax backfill, which K-12 gets, but community colleges aren't privy to. We'll look to fund COLA. If there is this windfall outside of Proposition 98, we could look to make further reductions to the CalSTRS and CalPERS contributions. There'll be pressure to fund basic student needs, including food insecurity and housing insecurity, and then also fund the system technology platform, things like Canvas that the state pays for on behalf of local districts, so you can get the economy of scale that the state has. I'll say that the president, myself, Stephanie and Willie have already met with Assemblyman Eddie Garcia's staff. And some of the things that we talked to them about were some additional funding for the Child Care Center. There was one-time funding a few years ago. It looks like we'll have some one-time funding again this year. Perhaps we can tap into that. Resident tuition and FTES for certain Arizona students. There is Ed Code provision now that allows Lake Tahoe Community College District to give resident tuition and gain FTES for Nevada students. We've started down the path of looking to see if we can do that for Arizona students for your college. A block grant for funding for COVID-19 expenses. As long as we're in this pandemic, we're going to need to have resources to address what comes up. That could be testing, PPE, all sorts of things that would be needed. It could even include laptops or hotspots for students. And then small college issues as relates to the funding formula, generally speaking. So I'll go back real quick and just highlight a couple bills that were signed in 2020. Number one is AB 1460. This was an ethnic studies mandate on CSU, but it is essentially a backhanded mandate for community colleges because the CSU has decided to implement the mandate as a lower division course. So community colleges are going to need to at least need to offer a lower division course for ADTs. And then students who want to transfer and take the minimum number of units at CSU. One of the things that's being discussed right now is to be able to offer the courses through the OEI, the Online Education Initiative, which would preclude you from having to expand courses and spend a lot of money to put those online. You would be able to get instant access to those courses for your students. AB 2288 was an allied health bill that allowed students to do more simulation because there was difficulty in finding clinical placements for students during the pandemic. And then AB 2884 allows lottery funds to be used for housing and food insecurity grants for students. And there'll be a continuation of this issue, like I said, in the next year. And then AB 3137 allows the college promise to be extended to students that are called the active duty military. They can continue to qualify for it. Then there was a late education trailer bill that allowed lottery funds for the purchase of electronics, laptops and hotspots and other items. So what was really a restricted fund, your lottery funds, even though they're not huge, you have some more flexibility on how you can use them now. Additionally, the bill added the lieutenant governor as a voting member of the Board of Governors. And she's been there for a couple meetings and is the only ex officio member of that board now. So next year, what are going to be the issues in the legislature that we'll see? The baccalaureate degree will be introduced, and this would expand the number of colleges that could offer the degree and also allow more than one degree per college. Funding formula is going to be re-examined. There's a task force at the league that's looking at changes potentially to the funding formula, but they want to make sure that they have sufficient data before they make any changes. So I imagine any funding formula reform will be slow in coming. Transfer reform, the committee on the higher ed, on the master plan for higher education has identified transfer reform as a priority. And so this is really, I think, an opportunity for community colleges to look at students that are transferring to CSU, how we can make the ADT better, or students that are looking to transfer to UC, how we can make that pathway simpler. And then finally, the other big issue for the year will be broadband access and looking to extend access to broadband to communities where there just isn't sufficient Wi-Fi access. Both the speaker and the pro tem mentioned it in their opening remarks to their houses earlier this week. Finally, I just wanted to kind of go over some election results. So the Democrats will maintain 2/3 majority in both houses. The Democrats picked up a house in the Senate, or picked up a seat in the Senate. So they'll have a little bit larger of a majority there. They actually lost a seat in the Assembly. So it'll be a little closer there. Did want to point out that, you know, Labor lost a lot of fights at the ballot box this year. So maybe California isn't as liberal as folks would think on certain issues as relates to community colleges. Both Proposition 15 and 16, the split roll property tax measure and the affirmative action measure, both failed. And then finally, the major committees that address community college issues will all stay the same. Assemblymember Medina, Riverside will remain chair of the higher ed committee. It looks like Senator Roth will remain chair of the budget subcommittee 1 on education. They will have to change out the Senate budget committee chair, the main committee chair. Senator Mitchell won the LA County Board of Supervisors seat. So she'll need to be replaced. So with that, I know it was a lot of information quickly, but again, happy to take any questions that you might have at this time.
All right. Any questions for Mark?
Thank you.
Hearing none, Mark, thank you very much. I appreciate it. It's a good job.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to provide the PowerPoint if anybody would like it as well.
I would.
Okay, I'll send it out and have somebody send it to the trustees if that's that works.
You can send it to me, Mr. McDonald, and I'll forward it.
Okay, Carrie, thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody have happy holidays.
You too.
You too. Thank you. All right, folks, moving right along. 6.2 is the wrap up for the strategic plan. Bijou.
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. I am Biju Raman, Dean of Instruction and Student Services at Palo Verde College. I'm going to share my screen so that you can all follow along with the presentation now. Just give me a second here. That's the wrong presentation. Okay, so this is a presentation of the wrap up of 2020 vision, which went for the years 2017 to 2020. What I have captured in this presentation is some of the key highlights. You have the entire documentation for the wrap up along with the board docs. So some of the highlights include the increase in the number of associate's degrees of transfer from 5 to 12. This was significant because when we started out about 2 years ago, Palo Verde was probably among the colleges which is offering the least number of options to our students. But now we have almost doubled that number of options of transfer to 12. Our guided pathways implementation was initiated, and right now we are focusing on version 1.0, which we also dubbed as Revolution, seeking to impact the education that goes out to our incarcerated population through primarily correspondence modality. What this will do is streamline the workflow, the processes, and make it seamless for the students in the incarcerated situation to receive their education. We have been developing or have developed 2-year ed plans or education plans for multiple entry points. As you're aware, our students can enter in the fall, which seems to be the primary mode of entry, but also in the spring. And we have multiple modalities of instruction, including face-to-face, correspondence, online, ITV, interactive television, and we have taken into account all of these considerations and have prepared ed plans for all of these scenarios. Umoja has been established and it has been very successful and it has been well received on our campus. And currently Puente, the exploration is underway. In association with that, the services to the students, we have also established a student success center, which has about a dozen computers, and it offers the ability for the students to register in bulk when they are on campus, and also the ability to interact with their counselors, not just in a one-on-one format, but also in a collective format. We have introduced the study hall, where subject matter experts, primarily in math and English, are presenting their topics, and everybody benefits in the setting of the study hall. We have also hired 3 new educational advisors to facilitate the student success. Moving on to the next slide here. We have established a Veterans Resource Center on our Blythe campus, which, as you may be aware, was one of the promises we had as a part of Measure P, and that has now been established and is functioning. Of course, due to COVID, we are under certain restrictions, but we have the facilities and the resources established. Also important, you may have heard from some of the reports that we are reaching out to the students through the services of food pantry to address the insecurities, the food insecurity on campus. The numbers of students and families that we touch are continuously increasing. Also happy to note that we have launched an athletic program. It is limited to basketball for now, and we plan to hope to expand it in the near future. We have compiled with AB 705, which is the Assembly Bill 705, which deals with the ability of the students to register directly for college level English and math without having to go through the remedial sequence. What that does is this is going to increase the ability of the student to complete their degree or program in a timely fashion without getting stuck in the remedial sequence. We have also initiated face-to-face orientation for community and the 2 local prisons in conjunction. And right now, of course, that's also on hold due to COVID for the prisons, and we have done a virtual orientation for the community. We are having fresh start workshops for students who are struggling academically every month, and now it's being done virtually. This enables the students to come in touch with services and key people who will be able to help them succeed academically. The California Adult Education Program introduced dual enrollment at Needles, which takes advantage of offering the CTE courses on the high school campus there. We have established a summer bridge program, both at Needles and on the main campus. This enables the students who are coming out of high school to get ready for the college and also ensure that they are primed for success. Rounding out with the last slide here, we have created annual snapshots for academic areas to study equity gaps. What this does is, in addition to the program review, which is completed every 4 years, the annual snapshot is a more immediate study of the gaps that exist in the student achievement and our ability to propose resources which include technical, physical or infrastructure, fiscal or money, or technology to address those gaps, or human resources to address those gaps. We have also introduced student support services yearly program review for Palo Verde College. Our accounting system, which is Galaxy, it continues to be accessible to all internal users, and this presents a very transparent method of handling our resources. Our mission statement was revised, and the revision included the unique and diverse population that Palo Verde College serves. And last, with respect to professional development, we have around 7 divisions at Palo Verde College, which are distributed as 6 academic divisions and 1 counseling division, each of whom have been provided with $2,500 to be used at their discretion for professional development. And with that, I will conclude my presentation. I'll be happy to take any questions if there are any questions at this time.
Any questions for Mr. Amin?
I thought it was a great presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. 6.3 is the first reading of institutional goals for the 20 through 23. Dr. Wallace.
Okay, I'm going to make a quick comment about this one. This is the first reading for the board. You'll see them again in January, about 6 weeks from now. What we've done, if you open yours, I can't share my screen. I apparently don't have they haven't turned me on to do that. But if you open your attachment, I just wanted to tell you how this is working, why it looks the way it looks. We originally had 10 goals for the 2017 through 2020 vision plan. And what Bijou and his team have done, which really is very all-encompassing of all the college constituencies, they found a way to collapse these into 5 goals, which are very much more manageable. And what I've shown here is that the 2023 goal 1, for example, on student achievement and growth, subsumes the old goal number 1 and number 3. And those are stricken out in red, indicating that those go away, and the new one in the dark print is the new one. Goal number 2 subsumes the old goal number 2. Goal number 3 subsumes 4 and 6. And goal number 4, I don't know if I've said that wrong. Goal number 3. Goal number 4 takes into 5, 7, and 10. And then goal number 5 is 8 and 9. So they're all of your older goals are in there. They just have been subsumed under more sort of broad goals. So you'll have plenty of time to look this over and, you know, present any questions that you might have. Just wanted to show you how it works. And Biju is going to come next and talk about a 2023 strategic plan called Horizon 2023. You're also seeing that for the first time. The strategic plan is built on the presumption that you're going to approve these goals. And if you don't, of course, then we'd have to change the strategic plan. Any questions on that before I get off and listen to Biju? Great. All right.
All right, 6.4, Mr. Remain again, Biju.
Yes, sir. Let me just quickly share my screen again. This is the wrong one. Okay, I'll just go with this. As Dr. Wallace presented, this is first review of Horizon 2023. As Dr. Wallace mentioned during the orientation to the new trustees, typically our strategic plans run for about 3 years. So if the board approves it today, it'll run from 2020 to 2023.
All right.
I just wanted to highlight that, first of all, as Dr. Wallace presented, this is based on the institutional goals that the board approved on June 11th of 2019. And once the new institutional goals, the 5 institutional goals are approved by the board after their second read, this is your first read today. After your second read in January, this will be adopted for implementation by the district. Also wanted to point out that the metrics were in the plan were guided by the Chancellor's Office vision for success. And these are to be implemented between the these are to be measured as beginning with 2017 to 2022. So that gives us about roughly a 5-year time period to look at the implementation of the metrics. Also wanted to highlight that the Horizon 2023 incorporates guided pathways philosophy. I'll just talk briefly about the 4 pillars of guided pathways, which are clarify the pathway. I talked about the ED plans, education plans being set in place for the students so that the students are aware that what is it that they are signing up for, how many units does it take, and how do they navigate into, navigate through the system. The second pillar is enter the pathway. This creates the prerequisites for entering into the pathway. And I also briefly mentioned in the previous presentation that AB 705 did away with a lot of the remedial sequence prerequisites that were necessary. And now students who are graduating from high school can directly enter into collegiate level math and English classes. Stay on the pathway. This is to ensure that the students have the services, the support, and the ability to stay and persevere with their chosen line of education. And the last is to ensure learning on the pathway. So this is done through various measures, like I mentioned in the previous presentation, that we have the academic snapshots, which measure the equity of student achievement. We also have a very rigorous student learning outcomes review and progress that measures student learning within the course, program, and institution. It's student-centric, so we want to make sure that students are at the center of all the plans that we have proposed, so they benefit from our interventions and our measures. All the proposed strategic plans are actionable and measurable. So this is very important because if you don't measure what you're doing, then we really have no way of knowing whether we are improving, staying stagnant, or going in the reverse direction. Implementation timeline for the current strategic plan is after your board approval from 2020 to 2023. So in the first student achievement and growth, I'll just briefly read it and highlight some of the key features of this goal. So this is create, provide, and implement exemplary student services and instructional programs that serves the need of our unique and diverse student population and community while increasing growth and student achievement by 1 to 5% per year for FTES, which stands for full-time equivalent of students, degree and certificate attainment, transfer, and employment. As you're all aware, there are different objectives when students enter into community colleges. Some of them want to obtain an associate degree for transfer and move along to a 4-year university to complete their education. Some of them want to enter into the CTE, which is the career and technical education courses, which are welding, typically welding, building construction, automotive, and so on, so that they can gain employment within a short period of time. So we have been creating our courses and programs to cater and facilitate success for all those type of students. Moving along to the second goal, we don't want to just educate the students, but ensure that every student who wants to have that education has access to that education. And we want to ensure that the students, once they are in the program, have ability to attain success. So we want to proceed with an equity mindset and a focus on underrepresented and disproportionately impacted students. So, do we do all this without any purview? No, we are under the purview of the ACCJC, which is the Accreditation Commission for Community Colleges and Junior Colleges within the Western Association of Schools and Colleges in California. So we have to ensure that we maintain that accreditation to be able to serve our students. And we regularly assess the success of our students with respect to learning outcomes and also continuous improvement in all programs and services that touch upon our students' lives. We have to do that with the support of our resources. Typically, there are 4 types of resources that the college has at its disposal to achieve those goals. They are the human resources, the fiscal or money, the infrastructure or physical resources, and fourth is the technology resources. So we want to make sure that all of these act in concert to work towards the ability of our staff, faculty, to service the students and to promote their success. The last goal is to do all this within an environment where collegiality, transparency, communication, and professionalism are at the forefront. And we operate using a blame-free environment where risk-taking is encouraged and rewarded. So to put this in context, when a project or a certain initiative does not reach the desired outcome, then we do not, we examine the process rather than blame a certain individual for the success or failure of that project, but look at all possible processes that go into the success of that particular project. So with that, I'll stop sharing and I'll be happy to take any questions on this portion.
All right. Any questions for Mr. Remain? Having a vision, it's a lot of work, and thank you.
I want to thank my team and Dr. Wallace for his leadership and his ability to direct all of us. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Okay, agenda section 7.1. We've got the second readings for some board policies coming up. This is a discussion section of our agenda today. It'll be board policy 3440, 3500, 3501, 3505, 3510, and 4235. Yeah, service animals, campus safety, campus security, as well as access, emergency response plans, violence in the workplace, and credit for prior learning. I always had a chance to go over these and understand them. Questions, comments, or concerns regarding any of them? All right, hearing none, moving right along. Information items. 8.1 is the administrative procedure. 4235 revision. Gone over this. Questions, comments, concerns? All right. 8.2 CCFC 311 financial report, quarterly financial report. Questions, comments, concerns? Leads us into 8.3, the cash flow analysis for November. Everyone's gone over this very carefully. Questions, comments, concerns? All right. The 8.4 report of purchases and warrants for November. All right. 8.5, looks like Dr. Wallace accepted a resignation. And we're down to 8.6, the actual training opportunities for the board. Once again, folks, these are on us to actually participate in. I'll have this opportunity, so I'll leave it on to questions, comments, or concerns regarding that. Okay. Brings us down to the consent calendar. Now, all of these can be approved with one motion. Let's take a second to go over them. 9.1 would be the curriculum approval for the new and revised courses. We'll have a chance to look at that. Hearing no questions, we'll go along to 9.2, the approval of the records destruction. Questions, comments, anything there? All right. Personnel actions. Got a couple of appointments here, Cynthia Luna and Taylor Marie Elms. All right. So at 9.4, I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the consent calendar number 9.1 through 9.3.
I'll move.
Got a motion from Angel. A second, please.
Second.
We've got a motion from Angel and a second. Questions, comments, concerns on any of them? Hearing none. Ms. Mullion?
Mr. Arneson,
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez,
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist,
Yes.
Ms. Stiers, Ms. Dyers?
Yes.
Thank you. Dr. Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. McNeil?
Yes.
Okay. Section 10 of our agenda today. Now we're into action items for instruction. We've all had a chance. 10.1 is the approval of the history and behavioral sciences. It was presented by Mr. Oaf earlier. I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
I've got a motion from Ms. Stiers. A second, please.
Second.
I've got a second from Mr. Rehnquist. Any questions, comments, or concern regarding this the program? Hearing none. Ms. Millian?
Mr. Arneson?
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez?
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist?
Yes.
Ms. Stiers?
Yes.
Dr. Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. McNeil?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Brings us down to 10.2, the approval of the child development program review as presented by Dana earlier. I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
We've got a motion from Ms. Stiers. A second, please.
Second.
Got a second from Mr. Rehnquist. Further comments or questions or anything, discussion? Hearing none. Ms. Millian?
Mr. Arneson?
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez?
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist?
Yes.
Ms. Stiers?
Yes.
Dr. Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. McNeil?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Brings us down to section 11 of our agenda today, action items pertaining to business. 11.1 is the approval of the authorized agents for the RCOE certification signatures for the Poverty Community College District. I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion from Stella, a second.
Second.
Thank you. Second from Mr. Rehnquist. Questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none. Ms. Millian?
Mr. Arneson?
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez?
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist?
Yes.
Ms. Stiers?
Yes.
Dr. Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. McNeil?
Yes.
11.2 of our agenda today is the contract with MGI Legislative Advocacy Agreement. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move that. The MGI Legislative Advocate Agreement.
John, I'm sorry.
I wanted to move the contract with MGI Legislative Advocacy Agreement.
Thank you very much. I've got a motion. I'll entertain a second.
Second.
I've got a motion and a second. Further questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none. Ms. Millian?
Mr. Arneson?
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez?
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist?
Yes.
Ms. Stiers?
Yes.
Dr. Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. McNeil?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. 11.3 is the approval of the student right to know reporting subscription. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
We've got a motion from Ms. Stiers. I'll entertain a second.
Second.
I've got a second from Carrie. Did you catch who it was?
Mr. Rehnquist? Oh, Angel. Okay, Mr. Ramirez.
Oh, Angel. Okay. All right, Mr. Ramirez. Okay, questions, comments, concerns? We've all read this and are aware of it.
Yes.
All right. Hearing none. Ms. Millian?
Mr. Arneson?
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez?
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist?
Yes.
Ms. Stiers?
Yes.
Dr. Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. McNeil,
Yes.
Okay. Moving right along, 11.4, signifying text messaging platform licensing agreement.
So moved.
I've got a motion from Ms. Stiers. A second, please.
Second.
I've got a second from Mr. Rehnquist. We've all had a chance to read this. Any questions, comments, concern? Hearing none. Ms. Millian?
Mr. Arneson,
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez,
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist,
Yes.
Ms. Stiers,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. McNeil,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you. 11.5 is the approval of the budget revisions. I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
I'll
Got a
second
motion
that.
from Dr. Thomas and a second from
John McNeil.
Mr. McNeil. Questions, comments, concerns, discussion? Hearing none. Ms. Millian?
Mr. Arneson,
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez,
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist,
Yes.
Ms. Stiers,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. McNeil,
Yes.
All right. Okay, it brings us down to section 12 of our agenda. Action items, personnel. 12.1 is the minimum wage salary schedule. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Got a
Second.
motion from Ms. Stiers, a second from Dr. Thomas. Questions, comments, concern? Hearing none. Ms. Millian?
Mr. Arneson,
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez,
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist,
Yes.
Ms. Stiers,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. McNeil,
Yes.
Okay. 12.2 is the memorandum of understanding with PVCFA, the extra duty assignment for Mr. Calabrese.
Move to
I'll entertain a
approve.
motion.
So moved.
I've got a motion. I'll entertain a second.
Second.
We got a second from Mr. Mares. Questions, comments, concerns?
The AWS, that's for the certified forklift drivers?
What?
The AWS, the certification for AWS, is that the one that we did for LaZoya and Henry?
That one is going to be for the national welding certification for our students.
Oh,
We're going to
okay.
become in a whatever the A stands for, American Welding Society, I
Okay.
believe,
Yeah,
so that
that's
our
good.
students can have a national certification.
Right.
Good. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Bland?
Mr. Arneson,
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez,
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist,
Yes.
Ms. Stiers,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. McNeil,
Yes.
All right. 12.3 is our memorandum of understanding with the extra duty assignment for Mr. Rinaldi. I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
And a second.
Second.
I've got a motion and a second. Questions, comments, concerns?
Yes. What is the ASE certification for?
So that's also a national certification for automotive people. I don't know right off the top what it stands for, but I think the S stands for service, automotive service excellence or something, but
Okay.
yep.
Thank you.
Stella, this is like when you take your car to the shop, they've got the blue sign with the white letters on it. It's that certification.
Oh.
Yeah. It's something you look for when you take your car somewhere. Yeah, that's good. Oh, okay.
Awesome.
In that case, Miss Millian.
Mr. Arneson,
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez,
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist,
Yes.
Ms. Stiers,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. McNeil,
Yes.
motion carries.
All right, 12.4 is the MOU for the extra duty assignment for Mr. Sprawls. I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
We've got a motion from Dr. Thomas. A second, please.
John McNeil, second.
Second from Mr. McNeil. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none. Ms. Millian?
Mr. Arneson,
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez,
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist,
Yes.
Ms. Stiers,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. McNeil,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, section 13 of the agenda, the most miscellaneous action. This is the 13.1 is the approval of the prior mentioned board policies. Board policy 3440 for service animals, 3500 for campus safety, 3501 for campus security and access, 3505 for emergency response plan, 3510 for violence in the workplace, and 4235 credit for prior learning. So we've all reviewed these prior. I'll entertain a motion.
I move these 6 board policies.
I got a motion from Mr. McNeil. A second, please.
Second.
I got a second from Mr. Ramirez. Questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none. Ms. Millian?
Mr. Arneson,
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez, Mr. Rehnquist,
Yes.
Ms. Stiers,
Yeah.
Dr. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. McNeil,
Yes.
Okay, 13.2 is trustees excuse absence from a board meeting. The board notes that Mrs. Stiers has recused herself from voting on this agenda item. So at this time, I'll entertain a motion for 13.2.
So move.
A motion from Dr. Thomas. A second, please.
Second.
I've got a second from Mr. Ramirez. Questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none. Ms. Millian?
Mr. Arneson,
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez,
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. McNeil,
Yes.
Okay. All right, section 14 of our agenda tonight, hearing of citizens on non-agenda items. Do we have anybody? All
no,
right,
we don't.
okay. In that case, section 15 will be adjourning to closed session.
Brad, we don't have any items, I don't believe, in there tonight, so we can adjourn to the Finance Committee meeting. And we can adjourn this meeting and then we'll open the Finance Committee meeting.
Okay, in that case, thank you all very much for your attendance and participation. I seem to have fallen off the back end there for a minute during one of the things, but I got hooked back up, so we're good to go. To the new board members, welcome and thank you. Stay connected. We'll close this meeting right now and move on to the Finance Committee. So with that, y'all have a great holiday. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And I'll now act to close today's meeting. All right. Let me get to the right part of the computer and I'll get us open for the other one here.
So I don't know if all the board members are as confused as I am, but we have to go up to select a new meeting topic from governing board to, what are we doing, Carrie? Help us out here.
PVCCD Financing Corporation.
Say it again.
PVCCD Financing
I
Corporation.
got it. Thank you.
Go to the black banner Go all the way to the right and click on the down arrow there. It will bring up all the committees and you find PVCCD Financing Corporation. Click there and it'll bring up the agenda.
All right, let me know when everybody's there, please.
I'm here.
Stella, you're good? I'm good.
Yeah.
Angel, you there?
Joe lost.
All right.
Hey,
Can I
Terry,
share my screen?
Terry,
Let's see.
Made you a co-host, Terry, so you can
Okay.
share.
Okay, thank you.
Terry,
Well,
So you're gonna, here's the black banner. Go all the way to the end of the black banner. There's a down arrow here. Click there.
I don't see what you're talking about. Mine went back to board docs.
Okay, you should be on board docs.
Okay. Do I need to log in again or what?
Yes,
Log in again?
yes.
Carrie, what do I open on that drop-down menu? I've got the drop-down menu.
PVCCD Financing Corporation.
I'm there.
Click on that.
Got it.
Angel, did you get there okay?
No, not yet. It's, I keep trying to log in, but it just, everything goes blank again.
Okay.
So this is a really quick fill in the blank thing, Angel. If you can still have audio, you're probably okay.
I can hear you guys.
Yeah, this one is this 1 minute deal here.
Okay. Well, we're all still here and move forward with what we got. Is everybody but Angel there? Dr. Thomas, you good?
I can hear you.
I'm good.
Okay. Stacy, you're good? Okay. All right. All right, folks, this time I will act to open at 2:55 p.m. on Friday, December 11th, 2020, Palo Verde Community College District Financial Corporation Annual Organizational Meeting. So step one would be 1.1 call to order. Part 2. Ms. Million, roll call, please.
Mr. Arneson,
Yes.
Ms. Davis. Ms. Davis.
Here.
Thank you. Mr. McNeil,
Here.
Mr. Ramirez,
Here.
Mr. Rehnquist,
Here.
Ms. Stiers,
Here.
Dr. Thomas,
Here.
Dr. Wallace.
Here.
All right. I'll entertain a motion for the approval of today's agenda.
So
Move for
moved.
approval.
Got a motion from Ms. Stiers, a second.
Second.
Second from Dr. Thomas. Questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none. Ms. Blaine?
Mr. Arneson,
Yes.
Ms. Davis. Ms. Davis,
There we go.
Yes.
Mr. McNeil,
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez,
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist,
Yes.
Ms. Stiers,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas.
Yes.
Okay. Public comment is our second agenda item here, 2.1. Do you have any public comment for this agenda item?
No, there are none.
Have been none submitted. Okay. In that case, section 3 would be the approval of the Palo Verde Community College District Financial Corporation officers as they were listed above, or listed like in the prior meeting.
Move to approve. Shall I state who they are?
Yes, sir.
Yes, and Dr. Thomas, you might want to comment that typically these are the same as the officers that were voted in for the board itself.
Right. These are the same officers that voted in for the board themselves. And they are Mr. Arneson as president, and vice president will be Ms. Stiers, and the let's see, Mr. Ramirez would be the clerk, and Dr. Wallace would be the secretary of the board.
Make a motion, Dr. Thomas.
So, and I moved it for the approval.
I have a motion and a second. Questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none. Ms. Millian?
Mr. Arneson,
Yes.
Ms. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. McNeil,
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez,
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist,
Yes.
Ms. Stiers,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas,
Yes.
motion carries.
All right. In that case, our little financial corporation meeting here is done. And I'll advance to section number 4 of our agenda, which is adjourned. We're officially closed. Hey, thank you all very much for everything all year. We'll move forward with another good year and hopefully get this COVID thing behind us and get back in our normal board meeting and boardroom and move on. Y'all have a great, happy, safe holiday season.
Yep. Happy holidays.
Right.
Dr. Wallace, remember us when you walk on the beach having all that fun. Remember the rest of us.
Hey, you're foremost in my mind, each and every one of you.
Yeah, right.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
John and Stacy, welcome.
Nice
Thank
to meet you.
you.
Nice to meet y'all.
Welcome to the new board members.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
It went a little fast, Stacy, but you'll get used to it. Oh, she's gone.
Hi, we're done. You're done? Yes, it's done. Forget your mask. Oh, yes. You better. I'll never get used to it.
Don, good luck to you there. I know it was a tough morning to get through that.
It's okay. Fine. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Mom.